James Parker believed in second chances. That's why he came back to Fairhill. Small town, quiet life, and an idea he thought could change things. Doctor Line, a simple app to help rural people talk to real doctors without driving 2 hours. It wasn't flashy, but it mattered. His mother had died from a minor infection just because no clinic was open on weekends. He wasn't alone. Nathan Cole, his best friend since middle school, was in this with him. Together, they raised $60,000, savings, a loan, and some family help, enough to build something real. Nathan had the charm. James had the discipline. They made a good team. At least that's what James thought. That morning, Nathan was supposed to show up with the design drafts, but James waited for an hour. No call, no text. It wasn't the first time Nathan was late, but this time, something felt off. James paced around the front porch for another 10 minutes. Still no sign of Nathan. He went back inside, sat at the kitchen table, and stared at the pitch document on his laptop. The file looked finished, but he knew it wasn't. They still had to finalize the UI sketches, then start hiring. Time was tight, money even tighter. He texted Nathan, "Where are you? Need those sketches today." No reply. He tried calling, straight to voicemail. James sighed. It wasn't like Nathan to ghost him. He could be late, sure, even forgetful, but not silent. They'd been planning this for nearly a year. Ever since that night at a cheap diner where Nathan, frustrated with his job, had said, "We either build something now, or we die slowly in this town." James had agreed. He'd taken unpaid time off work. He even used his mother's old car as collateral for the loan. This wasn't a hobby. It was everything. By late afternoon, James drove to Nathan's apartment near the edge of town. He knocked. No answer. He checked the windows. No light. Mail piled up outside the door. A red envelope from the credit union. A pizza flyer. Something wasn't right. James stood there heart heavy, staring at the locked door. He didn't know it yet, but this was the beginning of everything falling apart. The next morning, James went straight to the bank. He hadn't slept much. Nathan was still silent. No calls, no messages. James told himself it was a misunderstanding, maybe an emergency. Maybe Nathan left town to visit family without warning. But the bank told a different story. "Your joint startup account was emptied 3 days ago," the teller said, tapping her screen. "All funds withdrawn in 2 transactions." James blinked. "Withdrawn where?" The teller hesitated. "Both were in Los Angeles." James's chest tightened. Nathan had talked about visiting LA once. He'd mentioned a girl, a fling, nothing serious, just stories over beers. But now it wasn't a story. James drove back in silence. The numbers played over in his head. $60,000 gone in 2 swipes. He called Nathan again, straight to voicemail. Then he tried social media. Nathan's Instagram hadn't updated in weeks, but his girlfriend's account? Wide open, public, loud. James scrolled. Photos, beaches, champagne, hotel balconies, laughter. One post stood out. "Best week of my life with you, baby," posted 4 days ago, the same day the second withdrawal happened. James stared at the photo. Nathan in sunglasses, shirtless, holding a glass of wine, smiling. Not a care in the world. The betrayal didn't hit him all at once. It came in pieces, slow, like watching a house you built catch fire and realizing you gave the match to your best friend. James didn't scream, didn't throw anything. He just sat down at his desk, opened the pitch document, and closed it. Then he opened a new tab, searched, "How to report financial fraud from a business partner." James didn't want revenge. He wanted clarity, an answer, a reason. But the law didn't care about emotions. It cared about paper, about signatures, about proof. With the help of a local attorney, James filed a civil lawsuit against Nathan Cole for fraud, breach of partnership, and misappropriation of business funds. The bank statements were clear. The startup account was joint. The money had vanished under Nathan's name. Nathan never showed up in person. His lawyer did, a calm, polished man from Denver who claimed Nathan acted in what he believed was mutual interest and that the funds were used temporarily with intent to repay. James sat in court, jaw clenched. Mutual interest? This wasn't a loan. It was theft. The court moved slowly. Weeks became months. The local newspaper caught wind of the case. Tech Dream Turned Sour in Fairhill was the headline. James refused interviews. Nathan said nothing. Rumors spread. Some blamed James for being too naive. Others said Nathan had always been a smooth talker. What hurt most was silence, from friends who chose not to take sides. In the end, the judge ruled in James's favor. Nathan was ordered to repay $45,000 over 3 years or risk wage garnishment, but the damage was done. James's credit was hit, his reputation bruised. No investor wanted to touch the mess. The dream was dead. 3 years passed. James built a new life, not big, but honest. With help from a state grant, he opened a small digital health center in Fairhill. It wasn't the app he once dreamed of, but it helped real people. Elderly patients came in weekly. Volunteers, mostly college students, ran tech support. His hair was shorter now. He spoke less, trusted slower. Nathan? James hadn't seen him since the courtroom. Until one Saturday morning, when the town held a charity fair. James was helping set up a booth when someone called his name. He turned, and there he was, Nathan. Thinner, hair messy, dressed like a delivery man, holding 2 boxes of water bottles. They froze. No words, just silence between old friends standing in a moment that didn't know how to breathe. "I didn't expect to see you here," Nathan said quietly. James looked at him. No anger, no kindness either. Just time. "I work here now," James replied. "You?" Nathan held up the boxes. "Temp jobs, week by week. I move a lot." They stood awkwardly, years of history between them, yet nothing to say. "I read about your clinic," Nathan added. "Glad you kept going." James nodded. "It's not what we planned, but it works." Nathan swallowed. "I never forgot, you know. I still think about it. About what I did." James looked away. The crowd buzzed around them. Children laughed in the distance. "I didn't come here for drama," Nathan said. "Just wanted you to know I'm still paying. Last installment is due in 6 months." James nodded again. "Good." And then, almost against himself, he said, "You look tired." Nathan smiled faintly. "Yeah, life's a different kind of marathon now." That night, James opened his email. He typed 2 lines. "I don't forget, but I'm tired of hating. Take care of yourself," and hit send. 6 months later, the final payment arrived. It wasn't dramatic, just a digital notification. On $200 received, final installment from N. Cole. James stared at the screen for a few seconds, then closed the tab. There was no joy, no anger, just quiet. That same week, he received a letter, handwritten, folded neatly, no return address, but the handwriting was familiar. He opened it slowly. "James, I know money doesn't fix what I broke. I still don't know why I did what I did. Maybe I was scared. Maybe I thought I deserved more. None of it matters now. You gave me a chance to be better, even when you had every reason to hate me. I hope you live a good life. I hope you find peace. I'll always carry this with me." Nathan James folded the letter again, slipped it into the drawer beside his desk. He didn't need to reply. Months passed. One evening, James sat behind the mic in his clinic office, recording the final episode of his small podcast. A project started by accident. Young interns had asked him to share lessons about failure, rebuilding, and starting again. His voice was calm. "There are things you don't get back," he said. "Money, time, trust. But what you build afterward? That's yours. And maybe that's what matters more." He paused, then added, "Some people leave scars, others leave silence. Either way, you keep walking." That night, before locking the clinic, James glanced at the photo on the wall. 2 boys, arms around each other, smiling in front of a whiteboard full of app sketches. He didn't take it down, he just turned off the lights and walked away.